All right. Welcome to H&D Abroad. I am Herman. Good to have you here with us today. It is a beautiful Saturday here in our little town and hopefully in yours as well. Always good to have you with us on this Saturday. For those of you who might be new to our channel, I'm Herman, half of the H&D Abroad. Lovely D is taking a well-deserved break today, but we're glad to be able to share here with you. On our channel, we share our experience and our process for moving abroad. In real time, we share all the information about all the things that we're engaged in. And with this process, we build this community in which we've learned so much about the travel process and where we're going. There's so much happening in the world, and we want to be a part of that process and a part of that global community. So we talk about that here regularly on our channel. If that sounds good to you, which we hope it does, we ask you to like on this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so that you'll know when we go live. We usually go live every Saturday right now around this time, as well as a few times during the week for Man Monday and Women's Health. It's always good to be here. Hey, Dr. Linda, it's good to see you. Welcome to the channel today. Hey, Servant Teacher Nikki, how are you? All right, so today is a compressed thought. So many things are happening. We're learning so many things. We're growing. And in this process, as you hear us say a lot of times, you know, things can get really overwhelming sometimes. It could really be a lot happening that can make this process feel like it's going to prevent the dream from happening. We began this conversation, Dee and I, in earnest 3 years ago. When she came and said, you know, I really want to move abroad. I want to see the world. I want to live in broader spaces. And I had not kind of put any real thought into that process. You know, we had talked about traveling, we talked about at retirement, but we're in the middle of our career lives. We're in our early 50s. And, you know, you assume that there's so much of life that you still have to do where you are. Hey, Tanya Brooks, good to have you here today. Hey, Bethany, good to see you. And so we began these bits and pieces conversations about what we were going to do and what we would see. And it took me a little while to get my mindset into the whole, we're going to move abroad. Different from a lot of the people that we watched when we were doing our research on the move abroad process. We weren't retirees. We are not retirees. We don't have a giant pension saved up, and you know, we are still building on our fortune and our future. Our young people are just recently on their own or getting ready to be our final on their own. And so those things kind of were forefront in our minds. And as can be expected, because of the process and life space that we're in, life is happening. So even with the intentions and the planning, there's a lot of distraction, interruption, integration of just daily life, paying the bills, going to work, care for our young people when they need it, investing still in our parents. There's so many things that are overwhelming. And in this process itself, there's so many things to do. You know, declutter is one of those words that just makes your heart race, because no matter how much you plan to say, oh, they'll need this and they'll need that, getting rid of things is not just a physical process, it's an emotional process. and you spending time or having the time to spend to really flush through all of those things um, can make the process slow down at times. You walk away from it. You say, "I need a break. I need to get my head together. I'll get to it." And sometimes, and then it sits over there, and then you know how that is. Once something sits, it becomes a pile. It becomes more of a process. My daughter was washing clothes. She came by to wash clothes, and she had, I felt like a whole wardrobe she brought with her, and she hadn't been here in almost 2 weeks. And I was like, "Babe, you come, twice a week. Come once a week at the very least." So that it doesn't become then, this massive process, because she's trying to put so much into the washing machine that, then when it's time to go in the dryer, she's got to dry it 3 times. And life feels like that. The process becomes so much because there's so much to manage and do. So I wanted to come and just give a few words on just things to consider in your process, especially if you have someone you're working through this process with. Just a few quick things to think about that may help keep the focus and the process in line. What's going on, Jice? Good to see you today, man. One of the things to do is keep your why in front of you. And there's several ways to do that. You could create vision board. Vision boarding is one of those things I'm having to take some time and research on, because you're talking about taking pieces of things that you come across and putting them together to create an idea in a visual way. And it can be, Dee has physical vision boards that she has up for her own personal growth. But it also can be affirmations, specific goals related to what you're trying to do. And then you can place those up around, if you have an area you want to live in, you want to have, I don't know, beachside. You have pictures of beaches, or people sitting in rocking chairs and reading, or people climbing mountains, because all retirement, all moving abroad is not about finding some place to sit down. It may be expanding or extending the energy you have into the world. So creating something that's shared to continue to express and explore the why. Remembering why you're motivated to this task. It also may have to be about what's happening in the area in which you live, resources availability, politics. There's a lot of conversation right now. People are having a whole lot of talks about how they feel about the political leadership in our country and how it's going to affect them. We're watching a video this morning where they were talking about the taxes on the middle and lower classes and how they will increase over the next several years. It's like, I make less, I owe more. It's going to hit me more. It's going to affect me more, which, affects property value and property taxes and food costs and gasoline and education. All of those things begin to be affected, and your ability to assist, not only just to take care of your home, but to assist any of the other people that you love who may not live in your home, is affected by those kinds of changes. So putting into effect, why are we moving? You hear Dee a lot talk about peace. She wants peace. Security is an issue. How can I go somewhere where I feel at ease, no matter what time of the day or night it is, no matter what part of town I'm in? I'm at ease moving through a space, and that can be a strong motivator in continuing to remember why you're doing what you're doing. Another is to break the process up into smaller parts. When you're looking at the move abroad process, one of the things that can be really disheartening is you see the whole process at once. I have to accomplish all of these things for this to be able to be a success. We got to get visas. We got to find a place to live. If we're considering remote work, breaking down, the home in which we live, making sure that our children and or parents are in a safe space so that when we leave, we feel secure that they're taken care of until we need them. Learning the language, getting enough finances. There's so many things to consider that become big pieces of this process. And it's hard to not see it all at once because so many of those things are interconnected. If one is going to happen, then I have to also do this. But breaking it down into pieces and parts, exploring each part individually and understanding it helps the process come apart, move more fluently. So as Dr. Linda is saying here, one step at a time. I said recently when I'm doing a massive clean, I clean a room. And anything that doesn't belong in that room, I simply take it into the space it belongs in. I don't take time to put it away unless it's a small thing. If I have several things that belong in another space, I simply take it to that space because I haven't worked on that space yet. Because if I start putting them away in that space, then I'm going to find myself in that space. And then I won't return back to where I was. So the other spaces get a little bit extra messy. But when I walk away from this space, everything is complete with that space. So then when I walk to the next space, if anything belongs in that first space that I was in, I simply have to put it in that space because everything else is already in place. That may mean that the last room may be the hardest because it's got stuff from all the other rooms piled up in it that belong in it that was in the other spaces. But all I'm focusing on at that point then is that space. And anything in that space that doesn't belong there is simply a small drop off in the other spaces. That piece by piece process, that one day at a time focus helps to, I believe, balance the time you put into this process. So this month you might focus on your research and getting the beginning process of your visas done. Next month you might do some decluttering. The month after that you might work on continuing to build on your finances. You track the process in parts so that you have control of the process in a way that is authentic to you. A tie into that would be the next step, which would be, check in with each other, with yourself or with your partner on a regular basis, weekly basis. What's the dream? How do we feel about the dream? Regular conversations that address the concerns, the fears, the expectations, as well as the hope and the intentions and the excitement about what the process is and what it will bring. Yes, it does bring up, the concerns because you have to be realistic about how you feel about them. Holding it back, hiding about it doesn't change the fact that you have those concerns or that those concerns aren't real. But being able to address them in a journal or with a partner or with a trusted friend or loved one that says, hey, how do I look at these? And especially having somebody else who can provide a second voice, a second thought, uh, knowing that you have someone or someones to share and lean on when it feels confusing or like it's coming apart. Um, it's really frustrating to say, okay, we got to push these deadlines back. We have to push this date back. Or, you got your mind set on a place, and then you're in the process and realize that that may not be the process for you. That may not be the place for you. And then you got to rethink about, okay, what would I do instead? Where would I go instead? Because the bigger process is the why and maybe not the place. And the world is so vast that your why can be accomplished so many places. There are many people here in the chat whose original plans and places were different from where they are or where they are going, because you had something in mind. You had a concept in mind. You had a direction in mind. But being able to pivot because you're focused on the foundational dream is important, and it helps to take some of the stress and the distress out of the process. Surround yourself with the people who are going to be a part of your tribe, who are going to be a part of your process and your move. And some of those people may not be where you're going. One of the beautiful benefits of this channel has been you. Dee and I, we regularly thank you for being a part of our community. The motivation that we glean from watching your process, from your continued support and encouragement, has been vital to us continuing to move forward. It is a daily process. And, you all get phone calls from us. You all get texts from us. Nikki and David, like she said, the original plan was Spain, and they are doing it in Mexico. And the fact that they are continuing to move forward and continuing to learn, trust me, we burned their phone up. To Bangladesh, it's time for a phone call. and we watch you all's channels and processes and learning and surrounding ourselves with the learning that we've gotten in this process has given us the relief at times to take a step back, take a breath, reevaluate, relearn, sometimes step away, sometimes and focus on what's happening in the space around us, and putting some of these things into their proper shelves and rooms so that we can come back to this. When we traveled late last year, early this year, we had the pleasure of making contact with some of you all while we were traveling. And in that interaction, everybody said the same thing. Even if this is not your place, we got your back. Here, let me show you what's here. Let me show you what's going. But we support you, whatever you're doing. That interaction can keep you from feeling alone. Because you live in this space. You're doing all the work alone in this space. And everybody's happening. And you know how social media is. Social media makes it look like everything is great because that's what you share. You share your successes. And that's not wrong. But when we were early in this process and we were watching Lamar and Angela, and that video of Angela breaking down because she was, tired and frustrated and overwhelmed with the process. We use that as a motivation for the very first video we ever recorded, because on our way to get our visas, so many things were happening that we were frustrated about. And that reality, the support we got from that video, bolstered us forward into continuing on through this process and what we were looking at, and what we wanted to do next. And that has been immeasurable. Part of the reason we sit here is because we have these conversations. Remember, this is a conversation. You're listening to me today, but this is a conversation. And this back and forth, this talking, this scene, the fact that you came by today is motivation to put the feet on the floor. There's some work happening today that's going to be a part of this, keeping it moving. And we are grateful for that. And if you are alone, you are missing out. If you're doing all the research by yourself, you're missing out. The Facebook groups, the WhatsApp groups, the YouTube channels, you name it. There are enough resources available and people willing to share directly or indirectly that make this process continue to flow in a positive direction. The last one, because we're not going to be long. The last one is celebrate all the little wins along the way. It's so easy to see all the things that aren't working. It's so easy to be overwhelmed by all the things that aren't working. But when you sell a piece of furniture, when you open a new account, when you get a visa, when you make new friends, those seem like little things, but they are cumulative. They make the whole picture blossom in pieces. We got a chance to plant a few plants outside, and these, putting the flowers down and just watching it fill in. You're looking at it before, it's nice, it's neat and nice, but those little pieces, adding to the decor and of the piece of the space that we share. Those little wins make the process expand in a way. Sometimes you have to take a step back from it and take a look at it. Dave, I am so looking forward to getting in this kitchen with you. These little relationships are part of those wins. There's no way that Dee and I anticipated the engagement that we've had since we started this channel. Our first live, it was 0 views. We didn't even know to turn on our cameras and watch it. Lisa, it would be our views. We were there alone. And we are deep in community with you now. That's a big win for us. The things that we've learned, we've been able to travel. And when our children were small, I don't know if it's we didn't get a chance to, or we didn't take the opportunity, but we didn't internationally travel. And we've had a chance to go to Central and South America. We've had a chance to go to Africa. We've had a chance to go to Spain. And many places are on the to-do list. And just the opportunity to engage the world like that has refocused, reimagined, reestablished what our plans and goals are. We've had a chance to meet Lorana in person. And several of you we've talked to on the phone, we've talked to on the videos, we've talked to, but we have to remember we haven't even had the chance yet to stand in the same air with you. And man, we are looking forward to it. It makes the plans, that we craft come together. Every time we pay off one more debt, big win, big win. This last boy graduating, moving towards the next stage of his career, big win, big win. Even though sometimes they seem separate and detached and far and few between, celebrating the wins keeps your focus on what the process is and where you're going. We are continuously in a learning process. Engaging with you, talking it out, crossing stuff off the list, rewriting the list. And some days are hard. Some days are hard because, again, the realities of this life requires that I take care of these things, requires that we move through this process, that we, shift and move and pivot and redate and reschedule. But taking advantage of the fact that we're still moving forward. We're still engaging in a forward momentum. Sometimes it's slower than we want it to be. It's that train on the track. Some days the train on the track is pushing. And there's days you're sitting there waiting for that train and you can hear it squealing. It's going by so slow. It doesn't mean the train isn't moving. It just means you got to wait a little longer for the train to get where it's going, either because you're on it trying to get somewhere or because it's in your way. But it's a continuous, ongoing forward motion progress. And I wanted to take just a minute to say to you today, keep moving, keep going. We are celebrating the little wins. Man, Sabangale, creating a file of all the expenses involved in the process. Yeah. And they can be daunting to look at, but it gives a focus. And when we were paying off the 6-figure debt a few years ago, D had it all sectioned out. And every time we swipe one off the list, it didn't stop the fact there was all these numbers that were still needing to be accomplished, but we were swiping them off the list. That's a little bit of baggage off. It's a little bit of baggage off. The whole list is in front of you. You see it. It's real. It's daunting. But you pick a space. You pick one on there, and you take that off, and you attack that, and that's cause for celebration. I mean, that's worth a dinner or a glass of wine, or at the very least a high five, a big hug, a dance. It's worth the expression of excitement. Remember the big picture. Remember your why. Celebrate the wins. Reevaluate and recreate your vision boards. Do not forget to surround yourself with those who are helping you build this process. your virtual community, your family, your on the ground community. Because even when you make it there, even when you make it to wherever there is for you, having still people who engage you, who support you. You're not talking about hanging buddies. Sometimes that's the case, and that's great if you can make that happen. Sometimes it's just people with whom you say, "Hey, how's it going for you?" You say, "Hey, what's the well, you're yet holding on." And when it's great, it's great. And when it's not, we learn from it. We write it down, figure it out, and we move ever forward. Um, we are excited to continue this process. Um, and as always, it's all of you who have helped us learn and grow and continue to grab at how we define success. We are successful because we choose to be. And we will not quit. And we support you in your process, wherever you are, wherever you're doing. So, just some thoughts, just some words, and we continue to learn and continue to grow. I am Herman. This is H&D Abroad. We will be back next week with our guest, Jen Quinch. Hope that you'll join us as they talk about that 50 plus decision-making process. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll see you soon. Have a good day. Enjoy this Saturday. It's worth it.